Hello again and welcome. This on-demand video will show you how to start creating content in your people pages using the Napa Valley College SharePoint-based web publishing environment. To get started, I've already gone to the home page, logged in, and navigated to my people page. That's covered in another video, but a reminder, to get to your people site once you've logged in, you would type in http://www.napavalley.edu/people and then your username. In my case, it's Jay Sanchez. And to make life easy, we always recommend that you add it to your favorites. As you can see, I've done down here, Jose Sanchez Demo Welcome Page. Okay, so once we get to our people page, we want to start creating content. The way that we do that is by using this gear and getting to our edit page mode. Always remember that the gear is where you want to start. It's where everything in your site is contained. You can edit the page, you can view the site contents. There's three very important libraries that are part of your website here. It's the Documents, Images, and Pages libraries. Every website will have the three of these, and we'll go into much more detail on structuring these when we start building our pages out and doing more things with it. Under the gear is also Site Settings. This is where you can go in and modify your navigation. That's this far left side menu that you see on your website. Again, we'll be making a video that very specifically deals with this topic and helps you build out your navigation items. One important thing to remember, when you are working with your site, if you end up at any of these other menus, you've got several different ways to get back to your home page. I've added a link here which makes life easy. There's also this link up at the top, and then there's the favorite. Where this is very important is that if you happen to make a mistake and click on possibly this Sites button, or you notice up here there was a OneDrive or a newsfeed, if you look closely at the URL, you'll see that it's completely changed from napavalley.edu/people to napavalley.edu/my. This can create problems if you start trying to use the gear to navigate back to where you were, because there is a site contents available, but it looks totally different. So if you see that this URL changed from /people to /my, just make sure that you go back to your welcome page, and then you're starting from the correct place to access all of your utilities. So now that we're on our welcome page, the first thing we're going to want to do is add text. The area that we're going to deal with today are the regular page content areas. So to get in to edit our page, right now we're looking at a preview mode. So this is pretty much what the outside world sees. To go from preview mode to edit mode so we can start working with this particular page, we click on the gear and we click on Edit Page. Now you'll see that the look on your screen has completely changed. First off, you've got this toolbar up at the top. Hopefully this looks familiar to you because this is very much like Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. In SharePoint, they try to give you tools that will look and feel very similar to something you already know, so that you're not starting your learning from scratch. You'll notice that the tabs themselves, just like in Word, they give you different toolbars to work with. So this is important to remember. If you don't see a tool here that you expect, make sure you're looking at the right tab. In your tools here for your formatting text, you see we can change the font size here. You can't really change the font type because we've only got Verdana as our default font. We needed to pick something that would be very standardized, so that's the one that you're going to be working with. But we do have these style sheets that let you change styles, and we'll show you in just a second why that's important. There's your regular bold, italic, underline tools, and then your left, right adjust, your indents, and your numbered list. So all those are there. Looking at the page itself, there's two areas we're going to work with today, the page content area and the page content to area. These areas work very much, again, like a Word document. So when we're working in these, we can start typing text, or we can copy and paste. This new version of SharePoint that we're working on is very stable with copying and pasting text. And since that's how many of us tend to work, that's what we're going to do today. So I am heading over to a section of text. I am copying it to my clipboard. And now I'm coming over here and I'm going to paste it in. You can right click and paste. I prefer to use Control V on my keyboard because the Control V, the Control C to copy, and the Control V to paste function, they tend to work on pretty much anything you're working with. Sometimes mouse clicking doesn't work on certain web pages. So I tend to be a fan of using the keyboard shortcuts. So when I go to page in my text, I get this confirmation window. Are you sure you want to paste it? Yes, please. Let's allow access. Okay, so the text has been pasted in, and you'll notice it's still carrying some of the formatting from where I pulled it. The fonts look a little different. Some of them are italicized down here. Some of them are underlined in bold. We always want to start kind of from a ground zero. So what we recommend that you do is you click anywhere here and you select, or you do Control A, and it does a Control Alt to select all the items. Once all the text in this box is selected, click on Paragraph. This paragraph style defaults all the fonts back to a nice clean Verdana 11 with no underlining bold or anything like that. So now we've got clean text. It's very important that we have clean text to start with. Once we've cleaned up the text, now we want to think about how we want to use it. It's very useful to add what are called headings. You'll notice up top we have a heading 3, a heading 4, and if you use this drop down, we got an alternate heading 3 and alternate heading 4. Headings are important to use on your web pages because screen readers look to the headings to create an outline of the content that is in your web page. So for anybody who visits your site using a screen reader, it's really going to help them. So what we're talking about here is accessibility. To increase the level of accessibility of your page, select the areas where you would want to create headings. Go up to the Styles menu and select a heading 3 or an alternate heading 3. I'm just going to select the heading 3. Okay, so that's a top level heading. As I scroll down, here's another top level heading that I want to create as a heading 3. So I will do that. Let me attach a heading 3 in there. Now let's say I also wanted to have another subheading in here to make life a little easier for me as I'm working. I can create some space. I can add some text. Let me create some more space here so you can clearly see. I select it, and then I would go up here. Maybe I want it indented. Okay, great. So now it's indented. And I want it also to be a heading. In this case, I'm going to select the alternate heading 4. So now my top level headings here are heading 3, and my indented headings are heading 4. The way you want to use it is top level headings can all match. So this could be a 3, an alternate 3, a 3. If I create a subheading in here, I want to move down the line for a secondary. That's when I use the heading 4. We'll be adding a couple more headings with some other colors as well, but they'll function the same way. Remember that they're hierarchical. 3, 4, then back to 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, so we're getting back to our basic editing here. I've pasted in my text, and I've added my two headings, top and bottom. I like how it looks, and now I move on to the Page Content 2 area. Since we're working with a people site welcome page, it's nice to have primary text here, and you see I give you some information about me and the things that I do. This can be a secondary area that many people use for contact information. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to, again, copy from my clipboard, and I'm going to paste in. Do I want to allow access? Yes, I do. I paste in the text. Now, it has formatting that looks pretty good, but you'll notice that it also put in a space. So I get rid of that space. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up my text real quick anyway to make absolutely sure it's nice and tight. There's nothing that I don't want to see in there. I'm going to attach a bold right there. So here we go. I click on my bold tool. I'm going to attach, or I'm going to convert that to bold text as well. And same with the phone number. Okay, so as you can see, the text editing, again, works very much like a Word document. The last little piece of text I'm going to do here is add an email. And what you're going to see, I'm going to enter my email address, and I'm going to leave the cursor right at the end of the email, and I'm going to hit Enter. When I hit Enter, SharePoint realizes that this is supposed to be an email address. You see that now it turned blue, and when I hover over it, it changes color. So it's made that link hot for me. It's a useful little trick. Last thing I'm going to do here is select email, and again, I'm going to make it bold because that's how I'd like the text to look. And now I've got the two primary areas that I wanted to work with, my page content areas, taken care of. Now you'll see here we have a page image area and a summary link area. We'll be making additional videos to show you exactly how to work with these. But what you do want to realize is that this area here, it is restricted to only using images. You can't just freeform type any text in here. And the summary links, what is interesting about them is that when you go to work in your summary links, you'll notice that when I click in this area, all my toolbars go away. The reason is that summary links have their own tools built into that menu area. So when I click on add a new link, there are all my tools for that. Okay, so getting back to what we were working on today, our page content here in the center looks good. Our page content here on the right looks good, and it's got a link. Now I want to get an idea what it's going to look like to the outside world. What I need to do is shift from edit mode back into preview mode. And I do that by checking in my page. You'll notice that this whole time we've been working, this yellow menu has been here telling us that the page is checked out. So that's great because that means nobody else can touch this page and edit it while I'm working on it. It also means that when I am working on this page, it's not shared to the outside world. Sharing it to the outside world is a two-step process. So when I check in the page, first it asks, do I want to add any comments about this revision that I've done? I have no comments to add, so I'm just going to continue. When I continue, it now puts me into preview mode, so I get a better idea what the outside world is going to see. You'll notice that the picture area, since I'm not using it, the text just scrolled up to fill it, and the summary link area, since I'm not using it, it's just blank. Okay, when I checked in the page to get to this preview, I also created what we call a minor revision. Those are all little restore points that you get to work with. The way that they function is that all along the way, each revision that I check in is saved, and it's a point I can restore to. The next thing I need to do is think about whether or not I'm ready to share this with the outside world. In this case, the answer is yes. The text looks good. I'm ready to publish this draft to the outside. And that's exactly what this link up here does for us. We can publish this draft. That feature is also available up here. You'll notice in your page menus, you've got this publish link. So it is the same thing. All right, so I click on publish this draft. And now you'll notice that there's no more menus up here because I don't have any revisions waiting for my approval. This is what's shared with the outside world. We also call this a major revision. What's nice about this check in and publish process is that right now the outside world sees this published page. If I were to go back into edit mode, so I click on the gear and I edit page, and I start making changes to this text, that published version does not change. So now I have the ability to work on this today, tomorrow, next week, maybe a month down the line. And once my edits are done, I'd go through the same process of checking it in and publishing. There is one more really useful feature to be aware of when you're working with this part of the page, and it's that you can discard your checkout. Where would that be useful? Well, as you saw, I just selected a bunch of text and I deleted it. And then I come over here and oops, I made the same mistake, I deleted that. If anywhere along the line you realize, I don't like these edits that I've made and I just want to act as if I didn't even check out the page this time around, if you go up to your toolbar and you click on the Page tab, you'll notice there's a check-in button. Well, down at the bottom of the button is a drop-down. And in that radio drop-down, there is an option to discard checkout. If I select discard checkout, it asks me to confirm. Are you sure you want to exit without saving? When I say OK, it acts as if I hadn't even touched the page, undoes all those changes that I made, and the published version, as we talked about before, it remains completely unchanged anyway. Okay, so that covers all the steps that we wanted to go over today about getting into our page and putting in our first couple pieces of content. Remember that all the functions we just went over are also explained in the very detailed step-by-step how-to documents that are linked on the IT SharePoint help page. Thanks for watching.